What's good, YouTube? Jay Lee here, Northwest Podcast. Apologize for the little background noise. That's a fan. It's hot. Got to deal with it. But I wanted to delve into kind of my past a little bit. But I think if I'm going to offer some value in this video, really it would just be to appreciate nature, appreciate Earth, and appreciate God's creation. Not to say we should worship God's creation. We worship, God only and Jesus only. But it's good to appreciate nature because God created it, and nature is a reflection of who God is and His order and His beauty. And for anybody who says that God is like, oh, if there's a God, He's not very inventive, or He's not very I don't know, loving or thoughtful or anything like that, because they view things from the negative perspective. They view things really from a worldly perspective, which is a satanic perspective, which is that everything's in chaos and it's all death and da-da-da. It depends on what you focus on. Yes, there's chaos on the earth. Yes, there's death on the earth. Yes, there is unfortunately satanic influence on the earth. That's in the Bible, right? That's evident in nature. It's evident in the sinful part of humanity. It's exhibited and expressed in those aspects. But that's if you focus on that, then you could say, oh, all it is chaos. But if you look at other things such as nature and the orderliness and the loveliness of what God created, you'll see a different side to things. So what that really tells you, and if you really understand the Bible, is that the earth is a center, and it's a war ground, or it's a battleground for war. It's a center for war, and really the war there is a spiritual warfare. I think in Ephesians, I forget what chapter, I think it's Ephesians 5, or if it might be Ephesians 6. It says, for our wrestling is not against, or our warfare, however that's translated, is not against flesh and blood, but against the spiritual powers and principalities in the air, which is Satan and the evil angels. So that is a reality, right? So that's a reality, and they're in the air, and they're stirring people up to commit sins, to commit atrocities, to commit horrible oppression, and all these things that have happened in the past through governments, etc., through individual acts of atrocities, etc. This is all from Satan, right? Satan hates man. He wants man to die because God created man in God's image, and he hates God, right? And so he knows that man is somewhat weak and is in somewhat of a vulnerable position, just based on how God designed the plan and the purpose, etc. So his goal is to kill. His goal is to harm man, and as much as he can work and stir up men to harm each other, he will, and he does. But that's part and parcel of what comes with having a free will. Otherwise, God would have to come in and use force to protect us, or whatever, and then what would happen? We would not have free will any longer. So it's a catch-22. It's like, on the one hand, yes, we need free will. On the other hand, what comes along with that is just how it happened in God's plan, is that we're vulnerable and there's danger. But God protects those who are His, to whatever extent, and hopefully we fall into His plan, right? So what I kind of wanted to talk about today was nature, was to enjoy, learn, to be a man, to be a good human being. I think there has to be a good appreciation for nature. I think that that's something that's been lost a lot in the matrix, in the compartmentalizing and pigeonholing of humanity, into these little worker bees, into these little corporate drones. Unfortunately, this is what we become, where we gotta pay the rent. So people have lost their humanity through that, which is, I hate to get all biblical, but it's a part of the fall away from God, is that man started to rely upon man, and they no longer relied upon God, and the result of that was a civilization that is out of man, ruled by man, sustained by man. And since man is flawed, naturally that means the civilization will be flawed as well. So this is why you will never see a utopia. This is why you will never see a perfect government, a perfect country, a perfect civilization, a perfect society. It will never happen because man himself is flawed. That's just logical, right? It will happen eventually when God returns and Satan is kicked out of mankind and out of our being, and we get new bodies, and we're in resurrection. And if you read the Bible, that's all there, but that's not right now, but that's in the future. And if it will change, it will get better. So also, anybody who thinks that God and the Bible is not a book of hope, you're wrong. It is a book of hope. It's a book of restoration. It's a book of salvation. It's a book of again, just restoration of this earth. But what I like about nature is that you can see the pristine beauty of God's creation. It's gorgeous. I love nature, and I think that man, again, because we have fallen away from God, we don't adhere to nature. If you love nature, you love God. And I think there's probably a lot of people out there who don't realize that, a lot of atheists that don't realize that, oh, I'm a nature lover, I'm a bird lover, I'm a bird watcher, I love animals. Well, you love God because He created these things for us. He created the earth for us. And we all love God. We just don't know it yet. And we just haven't had the opportunity to really explore God and explore the relationship with God, right? But many people have become detached from nature, and a lot of the result of that is a kind of inner chaos, because I believe there's a sanctuary in nature. I believe there's a sanctuary for our soul. I believe there's a rest and a peace that we can find in nature, and only in nature. Aside from God, we can find that rest and peace in God. But I think that it's attached. I think that there's a link between nature and God, and this is why I think a lot of people, a lot of culture, historical cultures have worshipped God, have worshipped nature as if nature was a god. Gnosticism and I forget, is it existential? No, it's not existential. It's there's a word for it. I think it's called transcendentalism, where like God is in everything. God is in inanimate objects. God is in the trees. God is in the air. Which is not true. God is a spirit. God is an entity. He's a being. He's not in everything. I think that's I don't think that's a Buddhist. But yeah, it's transcendentalism. It might be related to Buddhism, but it's wrong, and it's part. I think somewhat Gnosticism, but it's just wrong. It's not correct, and but it sounds like it could be, and I think the reason why is because, again, even the Bible says, I think it's in Romans chapter 5, Romans somewhere 4 or 5 or 6. Maybe 3, maybe 3, or it might even be chapter 1 actually, but it talks about that we can see we can see what kind of God He is through nature. And it talks about like no one has any excuse, because even if the gospel wasn't preached to them verbally, they can look outside and say there has to be a God. And for me, it's I can't understand anybody who would look outside and look at nature and look at the way the earth, how amazing it is, and not say, hey, there's a God out there, because this is orderly, this is beautiful, this is, it doesn't just happen. Order doesn't necessarily just pop out of chaos, or something doesn't come out of nothing. There has to be a source. I remember when I was a kid, I would watch these nature shows, and I would just be in awe of how beautiful the earth is, and it's really it's a testament to who God is. It's a testament to his wisdom and his glory and his splendor and his appreciation of beauty. You know, we have an appreciation of beauty because we see beauty in God's creation. So for people to worship nature or to worship trees or the sun god or whatever, they're really just trying to worship God and they don't know it, because really they're worshiping his design. You know, because people would look at the sun and be like, wow, it's so amazing, it brings us our sustenance, the sun must be our god, which is really kind of dumb. It's really kind of shallow-minded. But you know, I guess that's what they thought 1,000 years ago or whatever. You know, back in the Inca days, they worshipped the sun, and they thought, oh, because it brings us our crops and it brings us, you know, it has to do with the tides, and I mean, they figured stuff out, but they didn't realize that the sun and the moon and the stars and the sky and the rain and the trees and the earth and the mountains and the water, etc., all this stuff is part of God's design. And what does that design do? It is the home of man. That's what that design does. It is the dwelling place of mankind. So essentially, God built us a house, right? The earth is the center of the universe, maybe not physically, but it is as far as human life is concerned. It is the center of the universe as far as God is concerned, because it's his goal. It's on his heart. If you read the Bible, it is. And if you don't believe the Bible, then whatever, you believe what you believe, and it is what it is, and more power to you. But we will see at the end of the road. We will see, and all my chips are in on God being real. So, but anyway, according to the Bible, you know, the earth is the center of the universe, and man is the focus of the earth. Mankind is the ruler of the earth. There's no aliens. There's no competition with the sharks or the gorillas or who you know, whatever animal. We have subdued the earth. Now, obviously, if you go in a gorilla cage or you go swim with the sharks, you're not gonna have a good time. But the point is that as a whole, as a collective, mankind runs the earth. We rule the earth. So what does that mean? It means we're the apex species here. It means we're the rulers. We are the focus and the center. If it's true that God created the universe, then he created the earth for us, and he created the universe for us, right? Why? Because he loves us. Why? Because we represent him, because we're in his image. So it stands to reason that God's enemy would hate us and would try to attack us. It stands to reason why we're a target, right? If indeed there is such a thing as evil, if God is pure and righteous and just, etc., and Satan is the opposite of God, or at least he's the enemy of God, what's he going to try to do? He's going to try to disrupt all that purity. He's going to try to disrupt all the beauty on the earth. And so what does he do? He allows man to, he stirs man up to get into materialism, which causes what? It causes factories to produce pollutants. It causes plastics to be made and which go in the ocean, which harm the earth. It harms God's creation, right? So people act like, climate change and mankind is the problem. No, Satan is the problem behind that. Materialism is the problem behind that. Global warming caused by deforestation, which is real and is true, unfortunately, is a result of lust and greed and the seeking after of riches and more wealth by selfish men, wanting more than they need, right? And so this is a problem, yes, and it's a real problem, but it's a problem of, again, God's enemy. And so all these issues stem back to the same thing. But it is good to take a break from all that and to just look at the earth and just appreciate its splendor and appreciate God. And for me, I remember as a kid, I would look outside, and I kind of grew up in a farmland area, and you know in the middle of Washington State, where there's a lot of farms and a lot of irrigation and canals, dirt roads, crops. People drove trucks. And it was a lot of like farmland, a lot of spread out land, and I just am very happy that that's part of my DNA. I'm very happy that I saw a lot of that growing up. I did live in a little city, but it was a very small city, and it was close again to all these areas, and I didn't see a whole lot of it. I wasn't always out there, but my mom would go on trips, and my dad would take me and my mom, and my mom wanted to go get fresh goat's milk because she liked goat's milk and she liked feeding us goat's milk. So we would do that every once in a while, maybe 2 or 3 times a year, and we would go out and maybe more often than that. I don't remember very well, but we would go out and we would go to these farms, and I remember driving to these farms down all these dirt roads, and we would go out to the canals and we would swim in the canals. And so I would say for anybody, if you ever get a chance to live near farmlands, there's something different about it. There's something that's very it's very hard. It's esoteric. I don't even know if that's the right word. It's metaphysical. It's almost spiritual. It's something that you're more connected to the earth. There's a different energy around farmlands. It's a big kind of energy. It's hard to explain, but the earth is just, when you're not around all this concrete, when you're not around all this manufacturing and all these buildings and all this, type of landscape, the earth is like, it has an energy. There's power to the earth. And when you're around farms and stuff, it's there. And not only that, it's beautiful, and there's just a kind of connection. It kind of makes you feel small in the best way. It makes you feel small in the best way, and it makes you feel a kind of appreciation, a kind of wonder, a kind of splendor. And even, I don't think you can get that same feeling out in the woods. The woods have their interests. A lot of people go camping in the woods and things like that, and I've done that a lot, and I know that can be a kind of retreat, a kind of goodness. But there's something about farmlands. There's something about flatlands with farms and dirt roads and creeks and things like that is just so special, especially when it gets hot. Something about that, when it's hot and there's water and it's like, there's just, I wish I could explain what it is, but it's a type of energy, it's a type of expression of the earth. Anyways, I remember that, and then I remember, that there would be trees, certain kinds of trees that were just kind of like, there wasn't a lot of trees, but there was some, and they were like these big trees that had all these really big branches, and I remember these thick leaves, and they were waving in the wind, not like your typical chestnut tree or spruce tree or something. They were just these weird, just big trees with these, and I remember driving and looking at them and like just thinking like, wow, there's not that many trees out here, but those ones are really cool looking, and they would wave in the wind, and I just remember it was almost like God smiling at me, and there's certain areas on the earth that are just so special. And to me, America, because I don't know what it is about America, but there's something about freedom here. There's something just so beautiful and homey about America. I don't know what it is exactly, but just our style, just our type of farmland, our type of history, with the settlers and things that came west, and it's just our type of topography that's just so, the whole Wild West lore behind that. It's there still. It's there. There's many areas that have just that have been untapped, and it's because people don't go outside. People don't, And I would just say, get yourself a nice little camera or something. I mean, they're getting cheap now, great ones. You can find them online because iPhones are basically cornering the market, but you can find them online for really good prices now. And just go out and just travel and take pictures and take it in. And if you can, camp. And if you got the means, do it as long as you can, because there's nothing better than just really enjoying nature, really enjoying this beautiful, gorgeous country. And I wish I had more money. I wish I had the means to do it. I'm pretty limited environmentally and financially, but if I had the means, I would be out traveling. I'd be out just taking photographs. I'd just be out talking to people. And I mean, that is something that used to be a thing. It used to be where families would go on vacations and that's what they would do. It really used to be a thing. And now, because everything is so modernized and advanced in technology, and everybody's worried about what everybody else is doing on Twitter and what are the celebrities doing, like, people forgot about that. They forgot about being family. I think I've said this in another video, like, people used to go out and have picnics and they used to go out and have barbecues, and they still do. But I mean, it used to be more of a thing where, like, everybody did it. Whereas now it's like, you almost feel weird doing it. You feel kind of lonely doing it. I remember I used to try to do that when I was younger and stuff, and I just feel lonely. I just be like, because it's not even a thing. People don't do it anymore. So you just feel weird. But if you ever get a chance to just get out and I think it's still there somewhat. I think somewhat people haven't become totally closed off, and you're still going to meet some good folks. You're still going to meet some old-fashioned type folks, because it is something that's passed down. And there's people like me who have that kind of heart where, like, yeah, I've done the modern thing. I've done it all. Like, I've done all the modern stuff, the modern TV, the social media, et cetera, et cetera. I've been inundated with all that for years and years. But I still got pieces in my soul where it's like, yeah, that's old-fashioned. Yeah, I like that. I like just being cordial and talking to people, like, being neighborly with people you don't even know and you never met them. You just kind of go out and, anyway, to me, that's an American thing. That's an American tradition that has become lost because of the internet, because everybody is, on the internet. Everybody's on social media. Everybody's busy and inundated with all this stuff, and they just forgot how to be American. They forgot how to be down homey. They forgot how to be neighborly. They forgot how to go have picnics. They forgot how to not just go camping, but go on vacations. People used to do that. They used to have trailers, and they like everybody used to have it used to be a thing where, like, you got your house, you got your career, you worked, you got a wife, you had some kids, and then you got a trailer. Maybe you got a swimming pool in the backyard, maybe you got a trampoline, but you got a trailer. And what was the trailer for? The trailer was for that yearly summer vacation. It used to be a thing. It was such a thing that they made a movie series about it with the great Chevy Chase, who's a great actor, right? The Vacation movie, right? The Vacation movie, which, by the way, Christmas Vacation is one of my favorite movies of all time, because it's just so funny. But it's a classic movie. Those are classic movies because they're about tradition at heart. Clark Griswold is a traditional man, and he has traditional joys. And one of the traditional joys of American men was to take that vacation, was to go on vacation. And one of the things was the summer trip. And you would have your trailer. What's a trailer? A trailer is like that little thing you hitch onto your car. I wouldn't say a little thing, but it's and you sleep in it, and you go. It's like a mobile home almost. People forget what trailers are because people can't afford them anymore because they're so expensive, which isn't right. But anyway, you get a trailer and you go on vacation. And you go to Arizona and you check out the Grand Canyon, and you go to, wherever, Texas, and check out the Cowboys, or you go to wherever, Colorado, and check out, the what is it, Keystone, or the Geyser, Keystone Geyser, is that what it's called? Anyway, in Yellowstone National Park, or whatever it is, Yellowstone Geyser, I forget. See, I'm sure I'm blunted because we're all just so inundated with social media. It's like, get out and enjoy. Get a camera, take take a vacation, and so that would be my thing, is to just enjoy that, learn to enjoy that, learn to go outside again. People need to learn to go outside again, and really just enjoy nature, and that's a great thing, and it helps you to be appreciative of life. It helps you to appreciate the simple things, and I think today a lot of what people are doing is they're like, well, I gotta figure out some cool creative thing to make a YouTube channel about, or what. It's like, no, you just go enjoy. It's there for you to enjoy. You just figure out a way to go do it, and you do it. And even if you just get a kayak, that's one thing I got. Okay, I got a kayak. I need to put it on my car. I need to go to the lake, and I need to just go enjoy paddling around on my kayak. That's my thing. I mean, I can do that. I might not be able to go on vacation, but I can paddle my kayak around, So you might not be able to go on vacation either, but you might not even have a kayak. Well, maybe you got a skateboard. Go skateboard, and I've done that. Yeah, I got a longboard. I go longboarding sometimes in my neighborhood, and I enjoy that. You get a bike. Not very expensive. Get a bike and go out, and you can even bike out to some local, probably mountain areas and stuff. It's there. I don't care what city you live in. It's there. It's just you haven't availed yourself of it. So that would be my advice. And that way you get closer to God. You get closer to enjoyment. You get closer. It's something you can do. It's something you can do. Get out and enjoy the sun. And so you're not just a cyborg in on your phone, and looking down at your phone, getting a curve in your neck, right? But anyway, that's my advice for today. I just wanted to share a little something because I was looking outside and I was enjoying these trees out here blowing in the wind, which I love to see, and I'm appreciative of that. And I wanted to just share. I wanted to share some things, and if you can, find some farmland, man. Check it out. Seriously, if you find just even driving through some farmland, roll your windows down, stop your car for a second, maybe turn your car off, listen to the crickets, listen to the wind, listen to nature for a little while, and you'll be like, wow, this is beautiful, this is gorgeous, this is like a symphony, and maybe another thing I would say is go swimming. Go and enjoy. If you got a river close to you, go enjoy the local river. Go jump in, and not even just a pool with nasty chlorine, but go jump in a lake if you can, if it's not too polluted. Go jump in a lake, man. That's just stuff people just don't enjoy. I don't even know if people know about that stuff anymore, and they don't even think about that kind of stuff. It's like, how enjoyable it is to just jump in a lake on a hot day. It's awesome. It's great. It's really great. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna end it there. Appreciate you listening. It's been Jay Lee, Northwest Podcast. Peace.